Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to more Total Extreme Wrestling. I'm BrendenPlayz, and of course, we are continuing our TNA playthrough. And we have, well, we've really established ourselves so far. We've got our roster really starting to come together. We've got a few more signings I want to show you guys as well. But first, let's get into a bit of a recap of our last few shows. So going back to the Against All Odds show, we had an 85 rated show there, so very good, our best show so far. Then of course we had the 75 rated afterwards. Abyss and Rhino was the main event of that one. We had an 85 rated Impact, which was great because we had the big tag match between Daniels, Styles, Joe and Low Key, which was always going to be pretty successful. And we started to really build towards the next rivalries. And then after that, of course, we have Jeff Hardy. He's been involved with Muhammad Hassan and Raven. Hassan went one-on-one with Raven for the 75 rated match. Raven's starting to improve. He's not starting to let us down as much now. 1.95 rating as well, 79 rated overall show, which is pretty good. Other matches, we know Molly Holly with victory over Tracy Brooks. Truth got a win over Eric Young. Addiction, Kazarian and Daniels were starting to finally get them on board and use them, and it's going to be a slow process to get them. We need to get their tag experience up, but we'll get there. They got a win over Joe and Low Key, so we had them have a good start to their TNA run, I guess you could say. But yeah, I guess the good news is Muhammad Hassan and Raven starting to really progress, which we really need, because Hassan's ring work is not the best. Raven's been all over the place with his drugs and alcohol, but that's okay. But Muhammad Hassan starting to get his popularity back to where he was. After he had a couple losses, he dropped down a little bit, but we're starting to build him back to where he was, which is great. Now, okay, so where we're at right now with our schedule, we've got one more Impact, and then we have another pay-per-view coming up, which is Destination X. So that's our next show. Now, we've been building towards Abyss and Christian. That's meant to be our next big title match at the pay-per-view. But we're going to go ahead and put Samoa Joe in there because I've done a little bit of research. I'm not very familiar with everything that happens in TNA, and I did forget what does happen traditionally at Destination X, and that is the X Division champion. He gets a title shot against the world champion. Now, generally, the X Division champion has to give up the championship, which I think is stupid. They have to cash in the title to get the world title match. I think that's kind of dumb. It makes the X Division championship look far more meaningless in comparison to the world title. So we're not going to do that, but we will have Samoa Joe versus Christian one-on-one, which is a match I really wanted to save for later on, but I feel like we need to kind of, do the traditions of TNA. So that's okay, which now means the other rivalry we had going on was the Fatal 4 between our top 4 X Division guys. I think we'll have Styles, Daniels, and Low Key in a triple threat match instead, and I think that will work out well, and we can have them have that match in a number 1 contenders match. The winner takes on Samoa Joe for the X Division later on, and we'll have Christian versus Samoa Joe for the title. We've got ahead and tried to sign a few more guys, trying to get Road Dogg down to a written deal. Ciampa, we've already got Gargano. I think it'd be great to get Ciampa and just do that tag team many years in advance, but why not? You see Bret Hart. Now you're probably thinking, why are you getting Bret Hart? But yes, terrific popularity. In fact, amazing popularity. It's incredible. But I feel like there's no better man to train our developmental guys than Bret Hart. So we're going to bring him in, and he's going to be a developmental trainer. We're going to pay big money for it. It's going to cost us, but I think it's going to be worth it. And we want to get the best. And also, he is pretty good. Good microphone, good charisma. So he could be a GM or good color commentary. Strong on the color commentary. So he could also be a color commentator and fill a bit of a role there as well. And hey, if not, we can always bring him up from developmental, have him as an on-screen character for us. Maybe I think in his contract he can't have a match, so unfortunately we probably couldn't force him to wrestle. But yeah, we could probably do something with him in an angle or something like that, of course. So that's always good. You guys have been begging, get Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson in. I'm going to do it. The reason why I haven't done it yet is because I've got so many guys already. I just feel like I don't want to have Daniel Bryan in and not really do a lot with him, but we will just get him in and obviously we can jump him into the X Division. Naomichi Marufuji, if I butchered that, I probably did, but look, I just watched a few matches of him not long ago, and he really impressed me, so I want to kind of do something with him. He's got terrific in-game stats, and I'm just thinking to my X Division, let's try and bring in a few guys that we could see as the future of the X Division. You guys also were begging me to bring in TJ Perkins to probably play the role of Suicide, or Manic, or whatever. We might do that character, we might do the Suicide character. Obviously it came into fruition around about this time period, so we may do that. And you guys were begging me to bring in a very young TJ Perkins, so yeah, we'll do that, but we'll be signing him to a developmental. EC3, Michael Hutter, or Derek Bateman, we're going to probably bring him in. I feel like, you know, it'd be good to bring him in early and start training him up, because he's got a lot of potential and we need to kind of exploit that. So we're going to bring him in early, bring him in developmental. Matt Seidel, we're going to bring him in on a pay-per-appearance deal just to kind of, again, be another X Division guy, do some high-flying matches and things like that. Probably won't get a push or anything like that, you know, to the big extent. Maybe not ever going to be X Division champion or anything like that, but we'll definitely be able to use him in the lower mid-card. And Candice LeRae, we're going to bring her in and put her in developmental to join the women's division as well. So there's a few guys that we're going to be bringing in now. Some of them we won't be seeing too much of, some of them we will be, but that's where we're at right now. Just again, looking at our roster, Christian Cage, he's still the man right now, and he's really our main project, I guess you could say. Obviously, building up our top 4 on the babyface and the heel side of things, our top 8 guys, I guess the TNA or the Impact 8 or whatever you want to call it, that's our priority. We're really starting to get developmental up and running. We've got a lot of women and men in the developmental. Obviously, Nakamura now is the global champion, which is great. And I'm still looking to perhaps change the name of our developmental. It's called Impact Florida, which I don't mind at all. And also our alliance. Obviously now we know in the future Global Force Wrestling becomes a big part of TNA. Do we want to kind of fast track that and put that in our game now, or kind of stay to what you would expect to see in 2006? I mean, we've already, Impact Wrestling Alliance doesn't really exist, so we've already kind of created something of our own. Do we want to just use maybe Global Force Wrestling as the alliance, and maybe, I don't know, maybe we could do something there? Let me know in the comments down below if you have a suggestion of any names or what you think we should do there, because I'm really open to suggestions, because I'm not quite sure what I want to call that or what I want to do quite there. And obviously with our alliance, we've only got Impact Florida and obviously our TNA company as well, so there's definitely potential that we can bring in someone else or create our own company, maybe overseas. Maybe we start to build the UK or maybe Australia, but who knows. So that's a long way away. We need more money to do that, but that's definitely an option that we could go ahead and take. Alright, so I think we're going to go ahead and get ready to book our next Impact show, the final one before Destination X. Alright, so we're about to book our next show. We do have a locker room incident. Oh, it involves Raven. Okay, Raven, what have you done now? What has he done? Raven turned up so wasted, hard on drugs, that he had to be sent home. He's no in condition to work. Wow, oh god. A lot of you guys are telling me in the comments, Brendan, fire Raven. Why do you keep him around? He's just a nuisance. But he's got great popularity. He's so skilled. He's just got these drug issues, but we can't sort it out because we can't send him to rehab. He's not a written worker. We can't get him to a written deal because he's working somewhere else. What can we do? We can only fine him. You know, a few people are unhappy, but it is what it is. We're just gonna have to do it. I mean, we could suspend him. I don't even know if we can do that, but we got to send him home. We got to send him home, and that kind of ruins a few plans because we probably would have liked to have him on the show to keep building towards the A-Train and Test versus Raven thing that we're going to probably do at the pay-per-view, involving Sabu too as well. So that's a bit of a disappointment there, but we'll go ahead and we'll book this show and we'll try and get ourselves a big rating because I think we need it. We need a bit of confidence now. We need a really good finisher just before our pay-per-view to get us some bit of momentum. Okay, so we've got the show booked and ready to go, so we will run through the results now and we'll see. We'll have a quick look at the analysis. We got everything covered. We do. So let's have a look at the results of the show. So on the pre-show, we had Gail Kim hyping up her match against Christy Hemme for the Knockouts Championship, rather. We had R-Truth against Alex Skipper, And what we need to probably change Elite Skipper's gimmick. But they had a good match, 77 in a pre-show match, pretty good. And afterwards we had Austin Aries come out and challenge R-Truth to the match. Now, as we know, the plan is to do Truth versus Aries. We know Nakamura's the global champion right now, but we're still going to go along with that. Maybe the number one contenders match, something like that, I don't know. But obviously, Austin Aries doesn't have the best popularity right now. We had Scott Steiner cut a promo on one half of the Dudley Boys. You know, basically, we wanted to be the Dudley Boys, but we just kept it as one of them. 92 rated, so Steiner with a good promo. There you go. Let's hope that he got the words out right. So that's our pre-show, I believe. To open up Impact, we had Christian and Samoa Joe. Obviously, now we know the plan at Destination X is to have those two have a match. So we opened things up with them, and it had a really good start, 88, which is great. Then afterwards, we had James Mitchell challenge Samoa Joe on behalf of Abyss to a match later on in the night. So obviously, Abyss was meant to be getting the title shot. They're not exactly going to be thrilled about that, so they want to take on Samoa Joe. Now, it will be a heel versus heel match, and they'll probably will take it down quite a lot. We'll give it a go anyways. It makes kind of sense in the storyline anyway. Well, we need to have a bit of a change here. So we wanted to change James Mitchell's gimmick because his gimmick, whilst it's rated very good, he's currently not suited to it, so it's actually bringing down his performances. Now, here's the issue. I don't know how long it was since he changed his last gimmick, so this may impact it. So let's hope it's not terrible. Average, okay. We'll take that. That's fine. Now he'll be suited to his gimmick. It should just bump his performances up just that little bit. Sabu went one-on-one with A-Train. Obviously no Ravens, so Sabu took the brunt of it. We had Test and Miss Testmarker out there. Basically, the numbers game got the Sabu 2-on-1 attack afterwards because there's no Raven. No one to back up Sabu, and that was the whole point in the first place. Sabu was brought in to back up Raven. Well, no Raven tonight, so Sabu, I guess, was punished for Raven's actions, I guess you could say. We had, wow, really good match here with the tag champs, America's Most Wanted versus The Addiction, 84 rated. And everyone had a really good performance, even Kazarian, 81. That's really good. So, really, really good match. And that's something we could definitely keep in mind later on. If we could, we could definitely do this as the title match at some point. Two baby faces in Kazarian and Daniels, and obviously America's Most Wanted as the heel team. That was really, really good. Now we had Bubba Ray on the commentary as well, just to kind of give them a storyline to go with it, so, and to boost that storyline as well. So that, and of course Jim Cornette is paired up with America's Most Wanted, and he's doing some pretty good work there. So that's a really good match. We're going to do an open challenge with Jeff Jarrett, basically saying he's so good that no one can beat him, and we'll see who comes out to take him on. It's going to be Kenta, and they had a 66 overall match, so this is a way to kind of get Kenta involved, and they did not click at all. So I thought Kenta was going to have a pretty good match with Jarrett, but Jarrett's performance was terrible. They still had a 66, which is okay, but and Kenta's gimmick wasn't very good, so we had him come in to be, I guess, a foreign star, but I guess his popularity isn't high enough, so there you go. And of course, Gail Kim, we actually paired up Gail Kim to be with Jeff Jarrett because I think at that time they were a pair. So she's actually managing Jeff Jarrett. I don't know if I showed you that, but that's happening now, and she did some good work as well. So it's another way to kind of get Gail Kim more involved as well. And then afterwards, we had Sting come out and attack Jeff Jarrett. And basically, like, picture The Undertaker, the lights go out, Jeff Jarrett's in the ring talking trash, and then boom, out comes Sting, and Sting beats him up and lays him out. And there you go. So that was pretty cool, and good rating for it as well. Jeff Hardy and Michael Shane, 75 rated match. We did this just to give Jeff another win, get him some confidence and get him some momentum going again, because he's a little bit down lately because he's lost a few matches, he's been a little bit pissed off. So more wins for Jeff. And then afterwards, Muhammad Hassan cuts a promo on Jeff Hardy, setting up their match. Now here's the thing, I don't know, Jeff Hardy, Muhammad Hassan 1-on-1 didn't really work very well. Do we go with another triple threat? Do we try and add someone else into it? I'm not sure what the plan will be, but we may have to. Maybe Abyss gets inserted to make it a triple threat. I don't know. And in the main event, Abyss and Samoa Joe. And as expected, the match went down a little bit, but I felt like this was the right match to do. Samoa Joe 86 rated performance, Abyss 76, but obviously you take a look here, odd face and heel combination, that's where it gets penalized the most. So There you go. But that's okay. That's fine. But we moved that along a little bit there. Now, I think in the match we had Christian come out and accidentally attack Samoa Joe, basically giving Abyss the victory, so it was a botched interference. And we also had James Mitchell, who is Abyss's manager, of course, and get himself involved and interfere in the match as well. So, yeah, a bit of a screwy finish for Abyss to kind of protect Joe as well. But Abyss keeps strong, and we can still have that Abyss and Christian match later on. Overall, 79 rated show, 4,500 nearly for the crowd. Happy with that. That's pretty good. I think, is our crowd going up? I'm not sure, but anyways, good show overall. We had some good matches there, and obviously if we had a better main event that would have suited. Maybe we shouldn't have put that match in the main event slot, but it is what it is. We're happy with that. So let's take a look at some of the things that are going on. We got Bobby Roode. We actually told Bobby Roode we want him to increase his size, so he's now a light heavyweight instead of being a middleweight, I believe. So we want to bump him up a little bit. 1.98 rating for Impact, so not too bad as long as we're around that 2 rating mark. Some other things I wanted to show you guys as well. We tried to get Maria Kanellis. We tried, but she's staying with WWE. Look at that popularity. It would have been so good for our women's division, but we couldn't get a hold of her. She's staying in WWE because if we wanted to get her, we had to really bump it up. Like, I don't know, we'd have to throw her ridiculous bonuses, maybe even give her creative control or something. Lesnar, he's signing on to do Noah. Jericho's doing New Japan. So they're just doing the tour, so they're not actually signing on to be in the company long term. So just the tour. So that's good. So they're still available to sign when we want them to. And Michael Shane's contract's actually ending as well, and he's got pretty good popularity and not a bad. I mean, we had pretty good match in these, so he's not a bad worker at all. So we might actually, I don't know if we can get him to a written, maybe we can. So we might do it anyways. We'll give him a bit of a low ball. We'll bring him in for 9 months. He wants a bit more money, so we'll bump him up a little bit more, give him what he kind of wants, and we'll give him 9 months. We'll see how he goes and see if he can impress. If he does well, then we might keep him around. But only guys I think we're absolutely definite about we're going to give really long-term contracts to. So we've got Destination X in 4 days' time. So that's where we're at there. And just looking at some of our progress over the last few months, our popularity for TNA, the product, the company is really starting to increase, including Southeast, 69 now. So that's really, really positive. So I'm very happy with that. And yeah, so this is where we're at. So obviously Samoa Joe and Christian going to have a match at pay-per-view. Samoa Joe's popularity not too bad. I think they'll have a really good match, to be honest with you. I think they will. I think that'll be really, really good. So we'll do that. And I'm really happy with Kazarian's performance, and I'm really happy there. Kenta was a little disappointing. I probably gave him a bad gimmick. Maybe I should have changed it, but we'll hang on to it for now. He's got good ratings in it. It just perhaps not the right one, but very good stats overall. So we'll stick with him. He's one we definitely want to use for our X division. And certainly we've got a lot of guys right now in that 40 to 55 bracket, like Austin Aries, for example, that we've got big plans for, but are just too far away. Same with the Tanahashi. They're just too far away for us to kind of have them, as stars, but we definitely can use them in that mid-card and do something there, and that's the plan, and we definitely will. And some of you guys want me to get Tanahashi to a written deal. We can't. He's actually working with Japan, and we have an alliance there, and we don't want to break that. We want to have the option to get anyone from Japan that we want into the company. So, and plus, we don't really want to take him away from Japan either. He's a star over there. We'll let him be there, and as long as WWE doesn't come calling, we'll keep him where he's at now. Now, also, a lot of you guys have been wondering about who's currently under contract in WWE. You guys have been saying, can you bring in CM Punk? Can you bring in Kurt Angle? Well, here's the deal, guys. A lot of the guys that you want me to bring in are currently under contract. So let's take a look at some of the notable names. Lashley, Booker T, Benoit, CM Punk. He's under contract. He's on the main roster as well in WWE. So Daivari was another one. You guys want to bring him in for Muhammad Hassan. Can't do that. Some other names, some big names. Goldust re-signed with them. Down here is Kurt Angle as well. Now, the other thing I want to show you guys is we thought we actually got Dolph Ziggler. We're wondering why is he not signed to the WWE? Well, it turns out this mod accidentally, or I don't know, created 2 Dolph Zigglers, and we got the bad one. This is Dolph Ziggler, Nikki. He's actually in WWE with really good popularity, good stats, everything like that. Really, really good. He's actually in WWE and signed to a written deal there. So we had the fake Dolph Ziggler, I guess you could say, and we got rid of him. We got rid of him, we released him, and we removed him from the game essentially. So there's only one Dolph Ziggler from now on, thank goodness. So that's that. You know, some other names, you know, Matt Hardy, for example, Ric Flair, Mysterio. So look, you know, we will, if we can, get some bigger names, but some of the names you want me to bring in just aren't available. And some of them definitely are, as you, for example, Bryan Danielson, we definitely can bring him in, but for now, we can't bring in, you know, the Angles, the Van Dams. We can't do that just quite yet, but that is a plan, and that's something we definitely want to do down the line, but we just can't quite get that done as of right now. But you know, that's fine, we will get there, and that's perfectly fine. And I just also want to show you just some of the recent WWE shows as well, just to kind of get a bit of a comparison to where they're at. So they had an 85 rated SmackDown, Batista and Kurt Angle. Edge and Guerrero had a terrific match, you can see right there, 95 rated. Raw, they had an 80 rated show. They've got Heat as well that they do, which is their minor show. SmackDown, now here's the thing as well, just thinking of a minor show, that's something I really want to have. I feel like right now we've got so many guys on the roster, especially those mid-card guys, we just can't fit them on the show. For example, R-Truth and Austin Aries, we couldn't quite fit them on the show, we just didn't have enough room. So I think it really might be time that we consider bringing in a minor show, a secondary show. So I think that's a must, and I think it's a good thing as well to do that, because, you know, it gives us a chance to use more guys, have them on the show more, and kind of cover more, you know, more storylines there. So we have our currently our A show, Impact. It's doing really well, you know, around about the two mark. You know, sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. That's fine, but I think it might be time to create a new show now. I think it would probably the sensible option would be to bring in and create TNA Explosion. So I think we might just do that, TNA Explosion as our minor show. Now the question is, do we tape it at the same time as Impact to, I guess, cover the costs a little bit there? We'll only make it 1 hour. I think 1 hour is probably fair. That can give us maybe 2 matches and a couple segments. I think that's probably enough. I mean, we could always increase it to 1.5 hours. We don't want to do too much of that thing. So we might hold it on Tuesday at the same time that we do Impact, and then we might air it. What's a decent day we can air? I mean, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they're probably all good. We might just have it on Wednesday. I don't think there's going to be any major competition on a Wednesday, so we might do that there. So, and that can be our minor show. So we'll call it Explosion, and there you go. So we finally have a secondary show, and I think it's time. I think we need that. But here's the thing: we need to get a broadcasting deal to go with that. Otherwise, we've got a secondary show and no TV to put it on. So we'll see if we can get ourselves a broadcasting deal with someone who's decent. Now, we can get a big broadcaster, for example, but that's on pay-per-view, Comcast. So we don't really want pay-per-view, so we'll go with a commercial. And right off the bat, you can see Spike. That's where our main show is right now on Spike, which is good. And they're good because they cover Canada as well. And I feel like that might be our best bet on Spike again. We'll see if we can get any free to air. There's no free to air that's interested, so we'll have to go commercial, and we'll try and negotiate with Spike as well. See if we can bring in another show if they will negotiate with us. So hopefully they will, and hopefully we can do something there with them. So that's where we're at with them right now, and you know, we'll see if we can do it. So we'll create a new deal for Explosion. They should agree. give it, yeah, should we give it a year? I mean, we could grow to the point where we could get a better network, so we might just give it a 6 months. They're not going to give us that time slot as expected. Maybe late evening, yes they will. So everything is all good there. So we are negotiating for Explosion, just checking everything, all good. So now we have Explosion on Spike TV, which is medium. It's not big, but it does cover the US and Canada as well, so it gives us the best chance. We're not going to get big ratings on it by all means, but that also means that now, well, we were meant to have an Explosion air on Wednesday, but because we tape at the same time as Impact, our next and our first Explosion will be next week. So we are still on the road to getting Destination X on the way. So we do now have a secondary show, which I think is an absolute must. If you've got a company the size of TNA, which is a cult size, you gotta have 2 shows, I think. And just having a quick look as well, we're currently the number 4 company in the world. New Japan, number 3, AAA, number 2, and obviously WWE number 1. You see CML down to number 6. Noah's kind of jumped up, so I'm not sure what's going on here. Is they're just having poor shows? I mean, maybe not having enough shows. It seems like they're only having, monthly shows. I think that's the issue. They're having good shows, but just not enough of them because they don't have any TV. So that's the issue I guess they're having there. And Noah's obviously been doing some good tours. And you can see they're having, wow, they've had 30 events already. So they're doing quite a lot. And we know, I think Lesnar's involved there now too, so that's got to be good. So there you go, that's where we're at right now with that. You can see Ring of Honor down at number 10, and Ring of Honor obviously has a lot of guys that we have as well. It's very similar. There's a few guys, for example, Colt Cabana that we might think about bringing in. Nigel McGuinness as well. I think he's a good option. But definitely, I think definitely right now we have the best names that we can get. I mean, we can obviously have a look and see if there's any guys of big popularity that we can bring in. And there is, there still is. There's, the big names we just don't quite have enough to bring in. I mean, Ken Shamrock, he's probably going to be going to Noah for a written deal, unless we offer him a deal right now. I mean, we definitely could, but I'm not too keen on getting too many veterans in. We just got Steiner. And probably Shamrock would be better than Scott Steiner in the ring, but I think Steiner probably has a bit more star power. I don't know. It's tough to say. Would love to bring in a Randy Savage or something like that for a short period of time, but there's just not a lot of guys that we can really bring in that are decent age and that can really work on a high popularity. So that's it. So that's really all we have to cover. We've got Destination X coming next time. We were going to try and fit it into this episode. We might do it next time. And we are really starting to progress as well. Obviously now we've got a secondary show. So all these names that aren't quite getting featured, like Austin Aries, for example, we can do that. Tanahashi. We've got so many really, really good wrestlers and a lot of women that we need to start developing. We just don't have enough time. So giving us an extra hour every week to do that, I think will work. It's not oversaturation, but it is enough time, and we can start to really develop a few guys, and even maybe bring in a few developmental guys. For example, we could bring Nakamura on, have him debut on Impact, and have it on Explosion. So we can do that, and we can start to utilize that a little bit more. And there's a few guys here in development. For example, Monty Brown, someone we want to try and fast track and bring him back up with so much popularity, so much we could use with him, for example, as well, Matt Morgan. So a few of them we would like to probably bring in and use them maybe on Explosion, just to kind of get them more exposure on the national stage a little bit. But that's pretty much all we have time for, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much again for joining us for this edition of TW 2016 here on our TNA playthrough. Next up, Destination X. And of course, if you haven't already, leave a like on this episode and subscribe to see more episodes coming your way in the near future. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen, and I will see you all in the next video.